Hi, and welcome to this new series that I'm launching that I like to call How I Make a Painting. And it's basically I'm gonna go through my process of creating a painting piece by piece. So I'm gonna try to be as thorough as possible and try to tackle one subject at a time. So today we're talking about thumbnails. Now, thumbnailing is something that I find is very important for picture making and illustration, especially. And I'm going to tell you why in a moment, but I'm going to start by telling you about this piece that I'm going to create. So, this is going to be very storytelling, I hope, because I really, really like creating storytelling pieces. This one is about my character Cornelius, and he is this mischievous kind of character, and he doesn't really know, I guess, where he belongs in life and all that. But he has this hobby. He likes to sing and play the ukulele, and so he is asked to sing by a couple of strangers on the train, and he does it, and he just captivates the entire train by his singing. And it's actually based on real life events. It happened to me, not too dramatically. I play the ukulele too. I like to add these things that I can have in common with my characters so that they become more real, I guess. And I love playing the ukulele, and I've played it for a while now. And I was approached by two strangers when I was riding the bus once, and they asked me to play for them, and I just did. I didn't really know how to say no to them, and it was kind of early on in my music endeavors, I guess, so I was very, very shy about it. I'm not too shy about singing and playing anymore, but it was a big deal for me then, and I thought that, yeah, well, if I die doing this, then I'll have gotten over that hurdle. And so the bus was empty. It was just me and them, so I just went for it, and they said they liked it, so I felt very great about that. And now I'm creating a picture about it because I thought that this kind of situation fit Cornelius very well. So, in order to try to captivate this feeling and the story that I want to tell, I find that creating a thumbnail is going to be very important for my painting process. And a thumbnail is basically your guide. It's like a miniature, very quick version of your finished piece, and it involves, well, sketching and maybe painting. You can do them however you like, but most painters prefer creating a thumbnail, at least one thumbnail, or sometimes multiple thumbnails. In my case, I was very set on my idea. I knew pretty much what I wanted it to look like, but it was still important to me to create a thumbnail so that I can, find the things that are gonna be problematic to me in like later in the drawing process and figure them out here on this like little ugly sketch thing instead of having to figure it out while I'm doing the real painting. So basically, thumbnails you can create to try to figure out the composition, like I'm doing here. I'm trying to figure out how I want to place the scene and how I want, like what I want all the characters to look like and where they're gonna be. And I'm trying to think very hard about that, and I'm just trying to come up with something that looks nice. And I'm trying to come up with something that's gonna place Cornelius in the center. And and by center I don't mean the physical center, I just mean the center of attention, because this is a busy scene with a lot of people and it's on a train, and he has to be the one that takes up most of your attention. So I'm trying to have all the characters look at him, and which is a very extreme example of doing this, and I'm trying to have that hat point in Cornelius's direction and all of that. I'm trying really hard to make it so that Cornelius is the most important piece of the piece. And I like to do this on a big canvas, but like in a very tiny spot. Like you can see here, I'm just using this corner, and that's in case I want to try something different. I have the space to do so, or if I want to just try something out, I have the space to do so. And today I didn't use that space so much because I was very pleased with the thumbnail that I came up with, and I have been thumbnailing it a little bit too in my ink book. And so now I'm just drawing it out, and you can see that I'm using a sepia color, or it's like a washed out yellowish sort of neutral color in the background, and that's because I'm going to later try to figure out my values, and I want to do that in like a just one hue, because I find it really helps me to try to figure out the values of the piece, because I work a lot with light when it comes to my pieces. I find that the easiest way to try to capture the emotion and the story. And so I usually want to try to create like a value thumbnail. And so right now I'm just blocking out a few basic values, a few basic tones, and I'm trying to figure out where I want my darks to be, and I'm being really simple about it. And I think I just keep to like 3 values at first, and then I add on a little bit, and I'm just trying to make sure that Cornelius is the star of the piece, and I want it to be super obvious here in this case, and everything else is just there to complement him. And so yeah, in some cases it can be necessary to do multiple of these thumbnails, and I tend to do that a lot too. But in this case, I just played around with the one that I had until I found a good way that I wanted to light it. So I was lazy today, that's why I did it. But yeah, it can also be necessary to color the thumbnails sometimes, which you'll see me do. But I've already decided that I want this piece to feel a little bit vintage in some ways, which is why I want to use a sort of sepia themed scheme, but I am also going to color it a little bit. You'll see me throw on a few reds and a few greens, but that's like about it. And I'm just like trying to decide, playing around, trying to find something that I like, and yeah, and sometimes, as I mentioned, it can be very useful to do multiple of these to try out different ways to approach a piece. And to me, that's been very useful for when I haven't really, like, I've had an idea, but I haven't had an idea of how to portray that idea, you know? In this case, it's very, my idea was very, very visual, and I knew pretty much exactly what I wanted it to look like. So, oh, I almost forgot to mention my tools. I'm using Photoshop Creative Cloud, or Photoshop CC, and I'm using a Wacom Cintiq 22 HD that I'm drawing on. So yeah, that's that. And you can see my layers over there. I try to keep it as not layered as possible, which is, to be honest, a bit of a problem for me. I like to go wild with my layers, but like, it doesn't, I feel it doesn't actually matter how you create the thumbnails. You're supposed to just mess with it to get an idea of how you want to create the image later, or just how you want it to look like. It's supposed to help you basically and map out your process later. And Oh, and also when I colorize the image, I just I go into that the layer mode, and I just pick color, and then I just slap on some colors real quick just to see what it kind of looks like. And yeah, then I also do a bit of like adjustment layers too, which I like to use for my thumbnails because it gives me a very fast way to see how different it looks using different, like just dragging around the colors a bit, just playing. And that's basically what I do when I create my thumbnails. They're usually very fast. This one I think took me 45 minutes. So yeah, they're supposed to be fast, and they're supposed to be ugly. So yeah, this has been me thumbnailing my new piece, and I think I'm gonna name it Musician by Definition, but I might come up with a better name, I don't know. Anyway, so thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode where we're going to sketch it for reals. Yeah. So yeah, see ya.